Hello, everybody, and welcome to St. Petersburg, Florida for the 15th race of the NCS Sim Racing Challenge. We're closing in on the end of the season, well over halfway. We are just about to get started for what should be another incredible race here. For season number 2 of the NCS Sim Racing Challenge, the Autonation 400 at the St. Petersburg street course, the first ever street course in the NCS Sim Racing Challenge. We're going to take a look at the point standings as they scroll on to your screen. Christopher Marnell has a pretty big points lead over Alexander Rowe. That is 55 points, a whole race ahead of Rowe in the point standings is Christopher Marnell, so he hopes to keep that advantage, and road courses are something that he is good at, so that could definitely be interesting for today's race. All those drivers scrolling across your screen. It's this 1.8 mile street course, 14 turns with the front straightaway on an airport runway. Sure to be a fun one here. Alex Palou has the track record in the IndyCar Series. I don't think we'll be breaking that today, because we're going to take a look at our starting lineup. Row number 1, two teammates, Mitchell Collins and Ian McDaniel. Row number 2 sees Garrett Lamar and Abel Nickerson. Row number 3, Arwin Basic and Harry Williams. Row number 4, Spencer Davis and Keith Hughes make up that one. Row 5, Christopher Marnell, your points leader, and Axel Rocha. Row 6, Tom Gill and LJ Toledo, very interesting name in the NCS Sim Racing Challenge. He did well at Watkins Glen in his last start. Row 7, Scarborough and Jonah Burridge. Row 8, Aaron Hunter, Nathan Stapleton. Row 9 sees Sean McKean and Hayden Phillips. Row 10 has got Alexander Rowe and Eris Yuko in the middle sector. Row 11, Joshua Harrison and Seelan Nosler. Nick Roten has done pretty well in the races in the road courses, not too well in qualifying alongside Boston Jones. Richard Fridge and James Sharp make up row 13. Row 14, Jacob Dabo and Christian Vargas. Timothy Sharp and Rue Sharp make up row 15. Row 16 has Greg Rowland and Sam Francis. Row number 17 has got Henry Guo, Rory Sharp. Row 18, Barney Thresher and David Kreutz. Row 19 has Nelson Reeves and Abby Lane, as the 34 has a problem. He's out of line. And row 20, Michael Guthrie and Josh Moore. Aaron Hunter out of line. That's very interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. Looks like he's got some damage already. Driver with the most wins is Helio Castroneves. 3 wins in his IndyCar career. As the 34 peels onto pit road, who will make history here at St. Petersburg? Mitchell Collins, Ian McDaniel leading them down. Green flag is out. The 22 going to lead them down into turn number 1. Field goes roaring past. Whoa, the 72 gets spun off already. He's going to get it going, as McDaniel is going to pull out underneath the 22 of Mitchell Collins, try to make a move to the inside. They're going to be side by side, heading around that corner, heading into turns 8 and 9. They go out of turn 9. Here comes Ian McDaniel. He's got the lead going towards turn number 10, the slight little kink, as they're still somewhat side by side. Now McDaniel has the outright advantage. Going on to turns 11 and 12, on to Dan Weldon Way. And through turns 13 and 14 they go. A full field flyby for you. as McDaniel's going to come out of turn 14. He's going to lead lap number 1. He won the race at Watkins Glen. Can he do it again today here at St. Petersburg? A quick 20-lap race here, but these drivers are sure going to make it a fun one. That is for sure. Never been on a street course, these guys have. Then here's Tom Gill trying to make a move onto Keith Hughes. We're going to see a lot of moves going into that little section of corners in turns 4, 5, and 6. As well as the area as they come out of 7, 8, and 9. There's the 34 of Aaron Hunter. He had to pit due to an unscheduled vibration or something was up with the car. They really haven't said much over the radio. He just said, I'm coming in. And he serviced this car. They're now 44 seconds behind the leaders. So that's also very interesting. A very interesting benchmark for these drivers to note. You'll lose at least 50 seconds if you come down pit road, because I was on the start, so obviously he did not lose as much time as he could have with full speed racing. You can see these drivers sliding coming off of Dan Weldon Way, heading into turns 13 and 14. McDaniel leading on lap 3 of 20 now. The 86 of Nickerson sitting in 3rd. Arwin Basic in 4th. Garrett Lamar in 5th. Coming out of turn 3, the little kink on board with Sean McKean. He's heading through turn 3 right now. He's 13th in the race. He's got Christopher Marnell just ahead of him in 12th. So we'll get a good look at this course on board with the 27. Off the wall goes Christopher Marnell a little bit, and that allows Sean McKean to try and get up to him. But this track is very, I wouldn't say it's super tight to where you can't pass, but there's very specific passing zones that you'll have to get through right here, especially this corner. That is one of the passing zones that is very critical. It's turn 10 as they go sliding through 11 and 12, and then into turns 13 and 14. The famous corner where Jimmy Johnson took a spin in his first IndyCar race. Across the front straightaway on lap 4 of 20 as they dive down into turn 1 again. The wall kind of gets you right there, and you can see these drivers really jerking it around. You have to be careful to be as close as possible to the wall without hitting it. Here's Alexander Rowe. He needs a rebound race. He's had a rough couple of races, especially with Bermuda, especially with last week as well. He's already got damage on the side of his car, but it's a road course, so it's not like it matters that much. It won't affect the aerodynamics of it. But Rowe trying to get a rebound race. He's certainly had a rough go the past few weeks. South Boston wasn't exactly his favorite course, or his favorite race, I would say. But gaining any sort of positions on Marnell, or any sort of points on Marnell, would be very critical. Here's McDaniel still in the lead on lap 4 of 20, coming to lap 5, crossing the stripe there. Caution free thus far, getting out of turn 1. You can see the Firestone tire barriers donning the track, as well as the Honda barriers. 2 sponsors that are not primary sponsors in the NCS Sim Racing Challenge. I'd say a lot of these sponsors are not even remotely seen on the cars in the NCS Sim Racing Challenge. Hopefully with Honda and Firestone, even Sirius XM and 7-Eleven, hopefully those guys can step up and sponsor a car in the near future. Here's Garrett Lamar in the 30 car. He's 2 for 3 on road courses this season. I know, very impressive the third driver to win, that was Ian McDaniel, who won at Watkins Glen. Now Lamar has been gaining his way through the point standings. He's had quite the good showing thus far. Very interesting story with that 30 car team. They had a very rough they had lots of rough performances on the road courses, even though they knew Lamar was good at them. They did a lot of off-season work. Lamar actually hired some friends that he knew from Trans Am Racing, and they are on the team. So his now head mechanic is a former Trans Am champion mechanic. So very interesting to note for that 30 car as well as the rest of CRT. Here's Harry Williams in the 87. He has done extremely well in the road courses past few weeks. He's got that pink Italia livery once again. Hopefully bringing the same speed that he had when he last drove that at the Roval. McDaniel here on lap 6 of 20 on Dan Weldon Way, about to slide onto the tarmac of the airport runway. And you can see these Cup cars taking a very different line than the Indy cars. The Indy cars are very wide to that outside wall before cutting it in. These Cup cars they keep it in the middle of the track, closer to the bottom, and it just helps them. I mean, they are a good 20 to 30 seconds slower than these Indy cars around this track, but it definitely helps them with how well you're able to corner at this track into that turn 1, because we need lots more braking to get into that turn than an Indy car. Here's the 84 of Axel Rache. He's been pretty quiet this year and hasn't had the best success, but road courses is something that he knows he can fall back on and try and get some rebound, especially in that 84. He's been performing not as well as his team owner would like, but Rache loves these road course races. He loves just being a part of the series in general, so any sort of seat time this 84 can get, he says, he knows he's full-time, but he says it could go away at any point, and he's just happy to be in the top division of the NCS racing community. On board with your points leader, sitting in 12th, trying to work his way up through the field. Marnell really needs to stay ahead of Alexander Rowe, who has slowly been working his way through the field. But you can see there is quite the gap between him and the driver ahead. That's Spencer Davis. And, oh, I nearly jinxed it. I said there was quite the gap. Now the gap has closed in. Hopefully we can see maybe Marnell try and extend the points lead, but of course, there's lots of races to go. 11 races to go in the season, including this one. And that points lead could extend or it could vanish in the blink of an eye. So Marnell needs the best finishes he can get to hope that Rowe doesn't start rattling off wins. McDaniel going into turn 1 again. And Marnell doesn't have any wins on the season. Rowe has 2, Lamar has 2, I mean, McDaniel has 1, currently in the lead, trying to go for another here on lap 9 of 20, about to get to halfway in the race. So you never know. Marnell definitely having no wins on the season is very interesting to note. The 23 car, looking to try and get that win. We only have 1 road course left on the rest of the season, and that's what Marnell considers his best tracks. Could Marnell get a win at an oval, though? You never know. Here's Mitchell Collins, the points leader, sitting in second, hanging on. He says his car is pretty loose, pretty unstable. and there's things that he wishes he could do to the car, but unfortunately, nothing yet. On lap 10 of 20 now, with Mitchell Collins there sitting in second, Ian McDaniel sitting in first. We never mentioned the pit strategy. Well, that's because it's going to be very rare to see if drivers come down pit road. Here's the 86 of Abel Nickerson sitting in third. He won at Auto Club Speedway. He has one win on the season. Could he try to go for another win? I mean, last season, Harry Williams, his team owner, he got 2 wins on the year. Could the 86 get 2 wins on this season? You never know. But back to what I was saying, no pit stops are necessary for today's race, even if we go longer than scheduled distance for a green-white checkered. So that is something to take note of. Arwen Basic sitting there in fourth. He's been silently good at these road courses this season. Even last season, he was up front at COTA. He nearly stole the win at COTA last season. And he has been pretty solid. Definitely a sleeper pick if you are one of those guys that likes to take bets. Here is Garrett Lamar, winner of 2 of 3 races in the road courses. Doing pretty solid right behind Arwen Basic, sitting in 6th place. That's the 87. Harry Williams, all of his wins have come on ovals, even though he considers himself a very good road course racer. So Harry Williams, could he try and get that elusive road course win that he desperately wants? He really wants to get a road course win to prove to himself that he can win on both sides of the track, especially with him charging up the point standings. Axel Rocha in the 84. He's certainly been topic of conversation, as well as the 78 of Tom Gill. He's sitting there in that martini livery, looking very strong today. In the 78. Pretty solid race for Tom Gill as he's finally finding his footing in the NCS SimRacing Challenge. With all these road courses in the middle sector of the season, has been really helpful for some certain drivers. Here's Keith Hughes in the 58. He's someone that these road courses have been helpful for. Quiet, he hasn't been really in the top 10, as well as Colin Scarborough, but it's been helping him get up in the points, make up some ground that they did not gain earlier in the season. Scarborough had 1 win last season at Circuit of the Americas, was close at a few times this season, but he is just inside the top 10 in that number 2 Verizon Dodge. All Bones cars within the top 10, which is a very good sign for Ian McDaniel, as it's Spencer Davis right behind Colin Scarborough in the number 00 Exalta Mercedes car. He's also been a guy at road courses. Haven't really thought of him much, but he's a sleeper pick. He's a pretty heavy sleeper pick. And of course, Christopher Marnell, the number 23, your points leader. He is definitely one to place your money on at these types of road courses. At any type of road course, really. Sean McKean did really well at his home state at Watkins Glen. He finished in the top 5, which was very unexpected for him. The strategy really paid off for the 27 car, and they are sitting there in 13th. LJ Toledo sitting in 14th. He had a very strong showing at both Watkins Glen races, hoping to prove today that that was not a fluke. Nathan Stapleton as well in that 4 car, looking pretty solid. Stapleton again was one of those drivers who did pretty well at Watkins Glen. Caution comes out. We have a car around. That's the 34 of Aaron Hunter, who seems to have a tire down. Oh, he spins out again in turn 1. It looks like he's got a left tire down. left front tire down for the 34 car, and the problems continue for him as Ian McDaniel slides his way through Dan Weldon Way. Look at that lead that he had just amassed over his teammate. It was nearly 2 seconds, but now the caution comes out here on lap 13 of 20. For the first time today, McDaniel leads us back, and we're going to take a look at the replay. So the 34 was going his normal route, and then it looks like the tire blew heading into turn 1, and ooh, right into the wall he goes. And then pretty much stepped on the throttle too hard there and spun the car out as he was trying to get it going. Here's another look at it on board with him, and then you can see the second he brakes, the tire blows, and then he wiggles and goes into the wall. And man, that is just a scary lick for any driver right there. And thankfully Aaron Hunter seemed to get really no damage from it. We're going to see if anybody comes down pit road. I don't believe we're going to get anybody, but we will see. You never know if some drivers try and take the gamble of getting fresh tires and trying to work their way back up through the field. But again, no need for getting fuel, so I don't see anybody wanting to do that. So we're going to be restarting on lap 16 of 20. Late race restart here at St. Petersburg. And it is shaping up to be an exciting finish. Double file restarts, as we all know. Ian McDaniel, Mitchell Collins. That is your front row as we get back to the restart. Abel Nickerson in the number 86, he will restart third. The 45 Aaron Basic, he's going to restart fourth. Garrett Lamar will restart fifth. Harry Williams in sixth. Those are your top 3 rows. As the pace car pulls in, we're going to go back underway at the St. Petersburg street course, the Autonation 400. As car is still struggling to catch up in the back of the pack. Green flag is back out. We're back underway. The 22 of Mitchell Collins gets a good jump on Ian McDaniel. We're 3 wide right behind them. We're going to have madness heading into turn 1 as Mitchell Collins clears Ian McDaniel and gets the lead back. Here as they're still side by side, there were 3 wide for second place nearly with the 86. We're going to look through the 45 of Arlen Basic has actually cleared Ian McDaniel. There's still 3 wide right behind them. Oh my goodness. Lots of 3 wide action. Still, as they head into turn number 7 and 8, you can see the stack up that they have. Heading into turn 9 now goes the 22. The 45 of Arlen Basic has made his way into second place, getting ahead of Ian McDaniel. Into turn 10 goes Mitchell Collins, just behind them. They have a big gap, and then the rest of the pack all sorted together. Ian McDaniel, oh, we got a caution. The 34 brings out the caution yet again. He's into the wall. That is not good. He brings out the second caution of the day, and we're going to race back to the line. As it looks like the 22, I think Mitchell Collins is going to come down to pit road. Mitchell Collins is coming down pit road, and Arlen Basic is going to take up the lead. Oh my goodness, very interesting. A huge change in the race dynamic as Mitchell Collins comes down pit road as the caution comes out yet again. A late race caution, the 22 coming down pit road. Arlen Basic is your leader. Let's take a look at this replay. They were 3 wide heading into turn 10, and yep, the 34 was just way too wide and runs right into the barrier. We go on board with Michael Guthrie. Yep, the 34 just had a very late apex, couldn't get the car turned, and goes into the wall. No drivers coming down pit road as they go by the pit road entry. That's very interesting that we saw Mitchell Collins come down pit road with 16 laps on lap 16 of 20. We got no word of him having a penalty for jumping the restart. I don't think he did. I think he got off very clean. But now Mitchell Collins is all the way in the back as the 34 retires from the race. So Mitchell Collins has 4 fresh tires and fuel, but he is 39th. So that is something to make note of, I guess. We will be restarting though on lap 19 of 20. 2 laps to go. Not a green-white checkered. It'll be 2 laps to go of the scheduled distance. Arwen Basic is going to be your leader. Ian McDaniel restarting second. Harry Williams is going to restart third. He'll be giving the push to the 45. The 86 in fourth. Axel Rocha in fifth. Keith Hughes will restart sixth. We had madness on the last restart with Mitchell Collins taking it, and then the 45 taking it once again. Now, here we go. Arwen Basic going to lead them down back to the green flag. He spins the tires majorly. The 87 is going to get the jump on the 45. Ian McDaniel is going to lead them down into turn number 1. Yeah, Arwen Basic had a huge misjump as they're 3 wide for second. They're 4 wide right behind them. They're wrecking. Caution comes out. We have a car on its side, and we knew that was going to happen because they were 4 wide on a track that really cannot support it. Caution comes out. Once again, we're going to have a green-white checkered as McDaniel is going to race us back to the line. No competition for the 26. It's going to be a battle for second. 26 gains the lead here on lap 19 of 20. And because there was a yellow on lap 19, we will be doing a green-white checker. Coming out of turn number 14. Well, that was crazy. McDaniel leads us back to the line. We are going to have a green-white checkered restart. Arwen Basic second, Abel Nickerson third. We're going to take a look at that replay with a massive crash in turn number 3. Here's another look at it. Looks like the 34 came down on the 97, and Nick Roten was unintentionally involved. We had a bunch of people involved in it as well. The 69 was on his rough. Here's another look at it. Ooh, the 93 gets involved in it, the 79. Oh, looks like the 23 and the 27 wrecked ahead of them, as well as Christian Vargas, Seelan Nosler as well, Jonah Burridge. Here's one more look, or another look at it. Boston Jones also getting some damage as well. 54 of Eris Yuko getting involved. 72, 24, 27. Here's on board with Greg Rowland. Yeah, you can see there were 4 wide right ahead of him. There were 4 wide right in front of him. And you know that, yeah, that was going to happen. Very interesting to see Marnell getting involved. I mean, let's take a look at that. I want to see what happened with the points leader. Oh no. Rookie mistake by Christopher Marnell. He just went up into Sean McKean, and they squeezed into each other and brought out the caution. Oh my goodness. So we're going to be going back underway. It'll be a green-white checkered finish here at the Autonation 400. in St. Petersburg. 30 drivers will be restarting with us and will be eligible to race for the win. Ian McDaniel, R1 Basic, that's row 1 for this green-white checkered. Row 2, Abel Nickerson, Keith Hughes. Row number 3 is going to be the 87 and the 84, Harry Williams and Axel Rocha. Row 4, Garrett Lamar, Spencer Davis, and then row 5, Colin Scarborough and Joshua Harrison. That is going to be your top 10. As the pace car pulls in, we're going to see a green-white checkered finish. Who will win here at St. Petersburg? Checkers or records for these drivers? Green flag is out. We're back underway. Green-white checkered, 2 laps to decide the race. McDaniel gets a good jump into turn number 1. The 86 bumps into the 45 and sends him off. But the 45 stays strong, staying alongside the 86. And it looks like Arwen Basic got a huge run coming out of turn number 3, and he's going to try to dive onto the bottom of the 26 as they're going to go side by side through turns 4, 5, and 6, and coming out of turn number 6 into turn number 8. They go. The 45 is right alongside Ian McDaniel, and the 45 takes the lead. Arwen Basic is going to take the lead away from Ian McDaniel as they're still side by side, but the 45 has got the nose ahead. The 26 is going to slip behind the 45, and Arwen Basic takes the lead away with 2 laps to go here at St. Petersburg. Dodge versus Dodge for this front pack. The 26 gets loose coming off of Dan Weldon Way into turns 13 and 14. The 45 now has a 2-car length gap to the 45. Or to the 26, excuse me. Final lap, one more time around here at St. Petersburg. Basic needs a perfect lap or else he's going to get swallowed up by Ian McDaniel. Heading into turns 4, turns 5, 6, and 7 before diving into turn 8. Here's the 3. Oh! The 3 gets turned by Abby Lane in an act of retaliation, it looks like. That's not good. As the 54 of Eris Yuko was involved in the accident on lap 19, he is on pit road yet again, servicing his damages. He joined the restart, but he is on pit road. Arwen Basic has 4 more corners to go to claim his win. There's 1, there's 2. 2 more corners to go. Through turns 13 and 14 he goes, a little bit wide, but he's going to stay ahead of Ian McDaniel. Arwen Basic, who could have seen this coming? The 45 wins at St. Petersburg and in a wild, incredible, crazy finish. Single file for the most part, as there's the 68. But it's the 45 of Arwen Basic who takes home the victory here at St. Petersburg. What a great race. That was awesome. Especially with a first-time winner, someone that we didn't expect, someone I said that was doing pretty well. And look at that, a 45 is able to get his maiden victory in the NCS SimRacing Challenge. Truly incredible scenes here at St. Petersburg. We're going to take a look at these finishing results. Basic, McDaniel, Nickerson, Harry Williams, Keith Hughes. That's your top 5. Scarborough ends his way up in 6th. What a great race for the 2-car. Lamar falls his way down to 7th. Rocha 8th. Tom Gill 9th. Spencer Davis 10th. And then Toledo, Stapleton, Fridge Harrison, Jimothy Sharp, that's your top 15. Alexander Rowe finishing 17th, that is pretty good, especially on points for the 37 car. Francis 16th, and Greg Rowland finishing 18th, Barney Thresher 19th, Michael Guthrie 20th. And then David Kreutz, Nelson Reeves, Rory Sharp, Rue Sharp, Mitchell Collins, Henry Guo, Abby Lane, Boston Jones, Eris Yuko, and Josh Moore. Those were your drivers that completed the race, completed the green-white checkered, though Josh Moore did not make it back around after being dumped by Abby Lane, which was very interesting. We could see a budding rivalry there. And then Vargas, James Sharp, Nosler, McKean, Phillips, Marnell, Burridge, Roten, Dabo, Hunter, all of those drivers finished out of the race due to Hunter wrecking out on lap 16, all those other drivers wrecking out on lap 19 and not completing the green-white checkered. Marnell is going to stay in the points lead. As we mentioned earlier, he had one race gap between him and Alexander Rowe, but it's still going to get pretty close, as we see here, 452 to 416 between Rowe and Marnell. But you can see there, Richard Fridge is now tied for third between Alexander Rowe. They're tied for second with Alexander Rowe. So both of those drivers now are 36 points behind Christopher Marnell. That's going to be interesting. Harry Williams has made his way up to 6th place in points. Ian McDaniel made his way up to 5th in points. Sam Francis 7th. Abby Lane 8th. Garrett Lamar 9th. Arlen Basic 10th. We have got a bunch of drivers up in the top of the points that we have not expected to see. And that is going to be very interesting. So you see the rest of the point standings scrolling on through. Henry Guo, unfortunately, not having a good day, dropping down to 25th in points. Sean McKean dropping down to 22nd. Jimothy Sharp dropping under the top 20 in points for the first time this season. Very impressive by him, though. But yeah, all in all, very interesting stuff happening today, especially with a tie for second in driver standings. That's going to do it today for the St. Petersburg Street Course, the Autonation 400, won by none other than Arlen Basic. That was an awesome race. We're going to see you guys next week. The Worldwide Technology 400 at Gateway. It's sure to be an interesting race. It was an interesting race last season. We know it is going to be a good one again. We'll see you all there for the next race of the NCS Sim Racing Challenge.